says it's live. Someone give me like a thumbs up in the chat. Let me know if you could see me. It looks like it's working. Sorry about that. YouTube has been really slow lately. I don't know what's going on. I just went and updated YouTube. So that's why it took a little longer. Anyone, please let me know if you can hear me. Well, anyway, I'm just gonna start. So great to see some of you here. Thank you, Willow the Cat. And thank you for modding. Also, gosh, we have a lot of mods now. So it's great. So if someone's not here, we always have a mod. I think Steph is also modding. She's a bipolar person. Check out her channel. Trey, I see so many of you. So yeah, today we're just gonna talk about kind of like bipolar lifestyle stuff. So like I wrote down like, you know, we could talk about really anything, but I wrote down like, want to talk about marriage, relationships, working, friends, kids, family, like all those things, or like not participating in those things, either because you don't want to, or you haven't been able to, or, you know, anything like that. But in case you don't know me, I'm Jess Curtis. I run the Our Bipolar YouTube channel. I've been doing these lives since the beginning of the year, and I love it. Love, love, love it. It is my favorite part of doing advocacy. Hi, Refused, I see you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so I have bipolar 1. I was diagnosed 27 years ago when I was a sophomore in college. I always say that on my videos. And the first 10 years were like super rough. I wasn't on the right meds. I was going into episodes, mania mostly, but also depression quite a bit. It was a tough time. And I also, you know, because it was so tough, I had many instances of just not wanting to be here anymore and trying to hold on, and I did, but it was not a good time. But then eventually when I was closer to 30, I did get on better meds that worked for me, which, you know, may not work for you, lithium and Seroquel. And yeah, I still have symptoms. It's not like everything's perfect now, but the symptoms are far less severe and I don't have them as often. But I still go through symptoms every year, really. So yeah, we can talk about, so if you don't know me, so I am married. I've been married for 15 years. I have a daughter who's 10. She's a handful, so I always think of it as like almost having 2 kids. But what else? Sorry. I do work as well. I work full time. I'm a managing editor for a scientific journal. It's called Microbiology Spectrum. And I really like my job, but it's also hard sometimes. It's hard to have bipolar and to work full time. There's just a lot of stress, right? And I also try very hard to keep up with friends. You know, I've lost a lot of friends over the years, some due to bipolar. And I've made a lot of friends having bipolar, like so many of you. I really am good friends with, and I love that. And I love having friends who have bipolar because they truly get it. And it's not like when you're talking to your neurotypical friends or family and trying to explain things and like, how could they get it completely? So that has been such a wonderful thing in my life. So let's see, any questions? I see some questions. Okay, first, bipolar person, hey Steph. And thank you for modding. And I think you don't actually have to mod if you don't want to, but it's probably the only way I can see your comments and vice versa on your channel. All right, you said, I woke up with negative stories in my head circling. It's been happening for a few days. What do you do if this happens to you? There are 3 stressful events and my Brian won't meditate. Okay, well, my Brian doesn't meditate either. It's just me and Pearson who meditate, and we have been slacking lately. Negative stories in your head. Gosh, I go through this too. I think a lot of times it is when I do have extra stress in my life where that starts like the ruminating, especially on negative things, happens. And for me, that usually means I do need to do more meditating, or I do need more alone time, or I do need to just like back off on doing too much, like maybe too much socializing or just too much stuff. I mean, whatever it is. That's usually what works for me, but sometimes it can be the start of something else, like an episode, like a mixed episode or a depressive episode. So just keep an eye on it. That's what I try to do. But it really sucks because I feel like at times it's just like intrusive thoughts and I can't truly control it. I'd like to hear in the chat what you guys think, what you guys do in that situation when you're really having these like negative thoughts in your head and it's like becoming a trend. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Another question. Oh, you already, I think it's the same question, but you were doing it the proper way with the, yes. And Moss, I pinned Moss's comment. This is a comment I used to pin myself and I've been forgetting, is to try to put the word question before your question if it is a question for me. And if it's not for me, then, you know, it's fine. Just do whatever you want. Let's see. Okay, Kiki Mama. Hi, I don't know if I've seen you on my channel, so thank you for joining. I love having new people. I love, you know, all the returning people as well, of course. If you don't mind me asking, how do you deal with the embarrassment after an episode? Yes. And sometimes the embarrassment is a lot more than others, right? Like I've had manic and psychotic episodes that I did some like really majorly embarrassing things. And then I've had more low key, like hypomania, mixed hypomania episodes where, you know, I was just kind of like being an asshole at times, but like not like something so out of the ordinary, just not really being kind, not being my usual self, which is usually kind. I mean, we can be assholes when we're not having episodes, right? So I think, and what I usually say to this, and I know it's hard to do, but I do try, well, first of all, if I have truly done something to hurt someone in an episode, I want to take accountability for that. Even though it wasn't an episode, I did it. It was still me. And I want to go and apologize to the person who I treated poorly, or even if it was just like a weird interaction, just go and say, you know, hey, and just own it. Like, I'm embarrassed that I acted that way and I am sorry. And maybe I can even explain a little bit about like what is bipolar and why this can happen in episodes. And it can become like a little bit of an educating moment because maybe, you know, probably it's going to happen again. Maybe not with the same person, but it might, especially if it's someone who's close to you. So that's usually how I handle it. But dealing with the embarrassment just on my own, like feeling self-stigma, like feeling embarrassed, I do try to remind myself that when I acted that way, it wasn't an episode, it was because of bipolar, and that is not me. That is not how I truly act. That is not my personality. That is, unfortunately, something came, took over my brain, and made me act in a way that I never would outside of that episode. And so I try to do that, and that helps somewhat. And also time can help, at least for me. Like, some of my most embarrassing episodes did happen a long time ago, and I'm lucky I have that like space of time to like not be as embarrassed anymore and kind of like lessen the sting of it. But you know, sometimes we don't have that, so I get that too. But thank you, that was a really good question. All right. question. How, okay. P.S. Adhithya. I think you're new too, so thanks for joining. How to get the bipolar 2 diagnosis. I'm not able to spot the hypomania. It's very difficult to get diagnosed. Feeling very disabled due to depression. Well, first of all, I have bipolar 1, just so we're all clear, but I just don't have mania anymore based on the meds I'm on. I'm very lucky for that. So I do kind of like seem more like bipolar 2 in the last maybe like 18 or years or so. But so if you're not able to spot the hypomania, I'm kind of curious, like, why do you think you have bipolar 2? Has it happened maybe like once where you went into hypomania and it hasn't since? Also, some people, hypomania presents more as anxiety, like severe anxiety, like not having anxiety all the time, but sudden, like strong episode of anxiety. I know people who have told me that, and their doctors confirm they do have bipolar 2 based on that. I am not a doctor. Let's make that clear. I am not a medical provider in any way. This is not medical advice. But yeah, but the depressive side, I mean, whether you have bipolar 2 or you have major depressive disorder, I mean, depression is no joke. I mean, for me, and lots of people disagree, but for me, the depression side of having bipolar is the hardest for me to deal with because that's when I get the most SI. And I'm not going to say the S word in this. I did in the past say it out loud, but I'm not going to say it because YouTube shadow banned my live when I was saying it. So, you know, YouTube is funny. Lots of weird things with YouTube. Okay. Let me see. Oh, and bipolar person said I had to change my relationship with the word embarrassment to survive. That's super interesting stuff. If you want to go into, well, maybe you have, but if you want to go more into that, I'd love to hear it. And like I said, Steph, bipolar person, she has her own channel. She has a wonderful channel. I love it. You know, we do stuff together sometimes, and she does lives too. So if you're into the lives, definitely subscribe to her, subscribe to me if you haven't subscribed yet. And also like this live right now if you can, because it will bring more people in. That's like a YouTube algorithm thing. So that would help too. Trey Music says, shame, YouTube, shame. Don't silence us, mental health folks. I know. And they act like there should be differentiation. Like we should be able to talk about certain things like SI, SH, things like that. Because guess what? We're doing it in an educational way, in a way like we're connecting and like discussing. We're not like doing it in a way that's in any way harmful. So, but it's a computer, right? It's a computer checking these things. It's not a human. Okay, I see a question. Kiki Mama, after you got the diagnosis, did you become obsessed with monitoring your emotions? Did you fear being happy means hypomania? How did you deal with that? Okay, well, when I was first diagnosed with bipolar 1, I was not obsessed with monitoring my emotions because I was having so many episodes that I was like rarely stable. So like there was no time to think about it much, just being honest. For those first like almost 10 years, like nine or so years, it was brutal. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm feeling happy, I wonder if I'm going into hypomania. It was like I was in mania by the time I realized I was happy. So, but now I know what you're saying, and I do feel like this sometimes. So sometimes if I am happy, if I'm feeling really happy, I definitely do a check. I do like a little internal check, and I think to myself, is this more than happiness? Is this just happiness? And how I can tell usually is, if I'm actually going into hypomania, like the number one sign is I'm starting to lose sleep. So if I'm happy and I'm starting to lose sleep, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. And sometimes you just lose sleep one night and it's not really anything. It's not a big deal. It's not hypomania. But if I lose sleep, usually for me, that means waking up early because I go to sleep pretty well. I think my meds that I take at night kind of like knock me out. So if I start waking up, let's say 2, 3, 4 hours early, a few days in a row, then I know for sure that I'm not just happy, that it's hypomania starting. Maybe I can catch it, maybe not, but it is. So the fact that we have to do that, or that, we can question, or we might have to question if being happy means hypomania. I think we have to acknowledge how badly that sucks, and that we can't just like feel the happiness, feel joy, and not wonder, is this going to be something else? Or is it already? And I think that it's a bummer, but like, I mean, at this point, I've lived this way for so long that I'm just like, this is what it is. Like, I have to question it. I have to do that. Um, and yeah, it's happened to me recently, and I've been doing just that over the last few days. I've been like, okay, I am happy, but I'm also wondering if it will become something more. And as of now, it isn't, but maybe it will be. Okay. Sorry, it just like jumped. I hate when the chat jumps around. It's like, it's alive. Oh, Joel Cortez, hey. You said just saying, hey, it's been a couple weeks since I was live. Yeah, I'm pretty much doing this every 2 weeks. Tell me if you guys, like, what do you think about the frequency of doing the lives every 2 weeks? Would you rather do it like every Saturday? Would you rather do it less frequently? I mean, if you want it less frequently, you could just not come, like to some of the lives. But and that's fine too. I mean, people get busy. You can watch the replay, all of that stuff. Okay, another question from, I'm just gonna say PS. Do you have cognitive distortions, like cognitive problems, memory issues, working memory, when you are depressed? So I do have memory issues. They are, I think, mostly due to the medication I take, lithium. So I just feel that my memory is not as sharp or as good as it used to be. I think I do have some problems with long-term memory, but I always did. A lot of us with bipolar have dealt with trauma in our lives. Sometimes the trauma can be what kind of causes the bipolar to emerge. I mean, it's largely considered to be a genetic disorder, but sometimes you can have the genetic background and it not emerge. But if you have, trauma, it can. So saying all that to say that, like, I already had issues with memory from childhood long before, I started having bipolar symptoms and got diagnosed. So that's also part of it. The thing I really notice with lithium is, due to lithium, is word recall. Like, I'll just be talking right now, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm getting to a word. It's already in my head. I know I'm going to say it, and then when I get there, it's gone. It's like poof, disappeared. It's gone. And sometimes I can get it back, and a lot of times I can't. And then I just have to be creative and come up with another way to say it. And of course, it causes me to pause usually and talk slower. And sometimes people will comment on my channel that I talk slow, and that's why. And I don't like it, and I don't want to talk slow. And I live with people who, well, some of the people I live with, have ADHD, and it drives them crazy because I talk slower and I sometimes can't get the right word, or I can't get the word out, or I pause, or whatever. And you know what? It's just the way it is. You know, I have to deal with my ADHD family member in other ways, right? Like bouncing all over at times, and like tapping and like things that drive me crazy. So we just have to accept each other. But yes, definitely. Oh, I see. I got a super chat. Thank you so much to Polar Opposite. I'm glad you're here, Dan. And yeah, he said, thanks for sharing your relationship experience, especially on marriage, of course. And Brian's out of town today, so I can't even like bring him in and like force him to answer questions. But you'll be glad to know. I mean, if you've been following my channel a while, so Brian is getting his yearly MRI on his spinal cord tumor today, which is benign, but it's a big deal. He had a big surgery about a year and a half ago. And if this MRI shows like no growth, then he'll go to every 2 years doing an MRI, which is like, wow. I kind of like want it to be done more than every 2 years, but but it's amazing that he's doing well. I mean, of course, he has a lot of pain and stuff, but that just means no more surgery like soon, right? He'll probably have surgery again someday, but hopefully not soon. I feel like I might have missed a question here or there, but oh, here's one. Rodrine Liverpool, hello. I know I've seen you before. When you're experiencing the depressive side of bipolar, how do you cope and regulate your emotions around your home with daily activities, responsibility, family, work ethic? Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna be honest, and if anyone from my work is on here, I don't really care. But the truth is, I mean, I can't work at my highest level when I'm depressed. I mean, I can't do that when I'm, hypomanic either. But the depressive side makes it really, really hard, especially just for me. So those aren't going to be the days that I'm like a rock star at work and getting tons done. I try my best. What I do is I use this site called My Tomatoes, and it's like called the Pomodoro technique, where you set this timer and you keep working for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break, and then you keep doing that, I think like 3 times or so, until you then take a longer break, like maybe like a 15-minute break. I can't remember. I mean, I'm not the best with it, but it does keep me working. But it's hard. Now, talking about like around the home with family when I'm depressed, yeah, I mean, I'm big on communication, so it's like I let everyone know I'm not feeling great, I'm sad, I'm not more than sad, I'm depressed, I'm not really feeling anything. It's hard for me to even have a good relationship at that point, or to like even do much of a relationship. And usually what happens, because Brian is so aware of like me having these symptoms at times, he knows that that's going to be the time where he's going to have to pick up the slack. He's going to have to do more around the house with Pearson, just so I can kind of like rest and recover and all of that. But that's why having a partner who, understands bipolar as much as possible and understands like what their role in it is really important. And I just could never be with someone who wasn't like that, and who wasn't like, I get it, you're in an episode, depression, mania, whatever it is, this is my role. My role is to now make things as easy for you as possible, remove stress from your life, help you as much as possible. And that's what we do, right? And like, I do it for him as well. When he's having trouble with his spinal cord tumor, he might be having more pain than usual, and like, I try to take over for him. So yeah, And don't accept anything less. Don't accept a partner who won't do that or who would shame you. My God, if he ever shamed me for having to step back when I'm having symptoms, like it would be a serious issue. Serious, serious issue. So, yeah. Okay. I was like getting all serious on you. Trey, you said you're gonna miss the 1-2 weeks from now. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so not less in frequency. Well, at least from Trey. We'll see. All right. Oh, Joko Jez says, I actually added your live to my therapy regimen. I love that idea. You know, it's like therapy for me too. It really is. Like, and I don't have like a good way of attending a support group right now, or like, you know, the times are never good. Oh, and I see Rescued sent, you sent some kind of little gift. I don't know what it is. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you. And I'm also like, it's hard for me to like walk into something blind. And it's also hard for me to like for this, obviously, I'm picking the time. I'm picking a time that's good for me. You know, it may not be good for other people, but they can watch the replay. But like other support groups I've seen that are in person, that are around me in the Pittsburgh area, they're like kind of far away, or they're like at a time it's like my daughter's bedtime, and it just never really worked too well. So I hope this does work as like sort of a replacement for that. I know it's not totally the same thing. Okay, Daniel Ozark, hey. Question, how do you manage the career? My psychiatrist officially said I was not stable enough to work right now. Okay, that's fine. I went through mania because the job, now I'm very depressed. Okay. Well, if your psychiatrist is saying that you should not be working right now, don't, you know, that's fine, that's good. I'm glad your doctor is willing to be honest with you and tell you that. For me, managing career is not easy, but I've been able to do it for the most part. There was a time right before I was getting on, you know, lithium and Seroquel, like the meds that work for me, that, sorry guys, I'm like hot. I need to put my fan up higher. That I was like going, same thing. I like went through like a bad mania and I was off meds, and like, don't do that. But I was so fed up and I went off meds, and then I had a big mania and I had to leave work, and I was like kind of working for the next year or so. I was like freelancing. It was like less than part-time work. I mean, you know, I never like ended up having to go on disability. Like luckily I had savings and stuff, but it was rough. And if I hadn't gotten on meds that worked, I mean, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, I would have had to at least try for disability. So now the career I have, you know, obviously you have to find something that works for you. I was an English major. I was interested in being an editor, and that's what I do now. But what works for me is because I can work from home and I can manage it because I can take a lot of time off. Like I work for a nonprofit and they give us, sorry, there's like balloons blowing around in the background. I just realized from our Father's Day celebration here. But anyway, so I can take a lot of time off. So I actually take every other Friday off. And then I also take like other vacation time off. That's because I just have it all built up. And that is huge in keeping my stress low. And then working from home, and I don't work with the public, you know, like I have like a very small dedicated team that I work with who, they're amazing people. I'm just very lucky. And then, you know, I work on a lot of projects that are like new things, and that like can make me a little anxious and stressed at times, but it's kind of good because it pushes me. And then I also have a lot of tasks at my job where it's very like kind of mundane, and like I do the same things, you know, like every week. There's certain things that are very routine, and there's certain things that are new, and I feel like it's an accomplishment when I learn how to do it, and then I know how to do that, and I can do it in the future and not be stressed. So that's, I mean, and I manage it because like it's because it's so flexible, you know, with my daughter. I can like get her on the bus in the morning, get her off in the afternoon, and it's like just very, I don't know. It's very, but all that said, it is still hard, and sometimes work becomes stressful enough for me that it does cause symptoms. It does, usually like a mixed hypomania. Now, it doesn't happen often, and usually it's because there's other things in my life that are really stressful at the time, not just work. But that's how I do it. I mean, but unfortunately, it's going to be really different for other people and what their interests are. But I can understand, like, if you were working and like went through mania and then becoming depressed because, well, now not only did you come off of mania, but like you're not working anymore and maybe having certain feelings about that. I mean, yeah. But try to give yourself some grace and just some space to like, once you know, get back to stable, you can kind of like reassess and think like, okay, can I go back to work? Should I go back to work? That kind of thing. Okay, finding joy. I think you're new here too, so hello. My daughter got diagnosed with bipolar 1. I was diagnosed with bipolar 2. We both struggle with seeing our own illness. How can we see it or accept that we do have it? It can, for me, it just took a lot of time. When you say see it, do you mean like notice when you're going into episodes? I would like to, I'll try to look out for if you answer that. But it can be difficult, and there is a thing called anosognosia, like some of you know about, where like you just cannot recognize that you're having a symptoms of any illness, but like particularly for this, for bipolar. I think acceptance, and I already said this, but you know, a lot of it is when I can separate the illness from me. When I have symptoms and then after I get stable again, I can realize like I would never have acted like that if I wasn't having these symptoms of an illness that I have. So that's one way that I've been able to accept it and sort of like separate it from who I am. But the acceptance part, I think, does take a long time, or it can. It can take a long time. It took a long time for me. I also didn't have the benefit of social media when I got diagnosed. It was so long ago. I think for me, like seeing other people, like going on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever you like, and having other people talking about it. You do have to be careful though, because they're going to be, you know, there's all different accounts. Some are like more positive, like too positive, maybe. Some are really negative. Some are more like, I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, all of it. That's kind of what I try to do. So I think that could help too, just like reading about other experiences. Okay. Question. Okay, Beatrice, I think you're new here too. Did you ever get therapy? How did it help you if you did? I mean, I've definitely had therapy over the years, on and off, many times. I've done therapy for myself. I've done couples therapy with my husband that was partially about, you know, my bipolar. So this is a complicated, and I have a video about this. I'll put it in the description later. So for me, and for many people I've discussed this with, if you're like really having a lot of symptoms, like if you're really having a lot of mania, depression, and you're trying to get therapy, it's going to be really hard to, at least for me, it was really hard to really deal with things in therapy because I was like being re-traumatized and going into mania or depression in talking about, because I was trying to do therapy for this trauma I dealt with when I was a child. And it was, you know, it was pretty severe. So like it was just causing more episodes. And that wasn't good, you know, like that wasn't helping at all. So what ended up helping me is sort of waiting until I was more in a more stable place and then going back and doing therapy, especially about trauma. And then I also did EMDR because at one point during COVID, you know, we were all like super stressed about COVID as well. And I started having some really severe, like, I don't know what you call it, like flashbacks. And like it was becoming, I was not as functional based on like all of these flashbacks and things. And so I ended up doing EMDR, and I found that really helpful, especially for something like PTSD or trauma, because it's like you don't have to like rehash everything as much. It's more internal. Like they ask you questions and you do like, you know, the bilateral, like either tapping or, you know, there's different ways of doing it. But it's more like you thinking about an incident and reprocessing it, but you're not so much like verbally reprocessing it. And I found that much more helpful. I also found it very helpful doing couples therapy and just learning ways to communicate with my partner and discussing more about like how he can help me when I am having like mania or depression, how he can approach me. And I still remember like the therapist was like, what would you want him to do? And I think I said something like, all he has to do is just like ask me how he can help. Like he doesn't have to like know what to do. Ask me how he can help. And she wrote it down on a sticky note, like, how can I help you? And we put it on our refrigerator. And then like, and just seeing it there actually like made me feel more supported. Like, I don't know. And then he, you know, tried to do that. Or he would just help in ways he knew would help, like making dinner or like simple things like that. All right. Sorry, I think I've like gotten a bit behind. I'm gonna go to like the very bottom and then go back up. Okay. Oh, rescued. I'm so sorry. You're saying your mom was. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, like thinking about like if your parent was your abuser, which I don't know if I can say it, but like someone I'm very close to, their parent was their abuser, and I always thought how complicated that would be and just awful. My parent wasn't my abuser. I mean, I could say it was, I have two brothers, one is wonderful, but the other one was my abuser and his friend. So he allowed someone else to come in, and yeah, not good. But having your mom as your abuser, not wanting to mention being Generation X and thrown out to the streets, not to mention I'm sorry, I'm not reading correctly. Manipulation and control. I could never be a kid. I couldn't please her. I'm sorry. That's just like when parents are the abusers, it's like so, it's such like a mind fuck. And like that's what like really upsets me about it. I'm sorry. Let me see what else. And if I've missed a question, please put it back in. Oh, Willow the Cat said question. Jess, can you see Victoria's questions? Maybe I missed. I didn't. Okay, so you guys talking about it. I'm going back up. I'm looking. I must have overlooked it. I'm seeing you talking, but I'm not seeing like the actual question. Yeah, that's not Lucy's ball in the background. That's a balloon. I'm sorry. I didn't think about. Yeah, Victoria, can you just re-add it? Because I'm seeing you like talking a lot, but I don't see an actual question, and it's gotta be here. It can be hard to navigate through. It can be hard to navigate through. Here we go. Well, here's another question. I'm just talking about abusers. Yeah, I know. But I feel like it's something we do have to talk about, because not only do like so many people with bipolar have experienced abuse, but like just people in general, right? Okay. P.S. Is getting a life really possible if you get a bipolar diagnosis? Like, live independently, earn. Well, I mean, I think I do. I can't say. I think there are a lot of people with bipolar who can live independently and work and all of those things, but bipolar is a spectrum. So I can't say like, well, because I am able to work and like all of those things and live independently, that like anyone with bipolar can. It really depends on so many factors. It depends on the person and where they fall in that bipolar spectrum. And also, like, because some people are going to have it more severely, less severely, even within bipolar 1, bipolar 2, all the different types. And then even if I would say mine was probably fairly severe, at least based on like the rapid cycling I experienced and all of that, but I was able to find medication that really helped. And when I say it really helped, I know there are people out there, they're like, I haven't had an episode of any kind for like 7 years. It's like, yeah, I'm not that kind of person. I still have episodes, they're just less severe, and I can kind of live with it and continue working. But if you don't find a medication that really helps, or it doesn't help enough, or you are med resistant, because there are people with bipolar who are med resistant, just meaning like they haven't had luck with any medication they've tried, which is heartbreaking, then you may not be able to live independently. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say like, oh yeah, like keep trying, like you can do it, like you're just not trying hard enough. That is not the case. And it's just really gonna be dependent on the person, on the medication, all of those things. All right. Did anyone ever, and if someone else sees that question from Victoria, can you just put it in the chat for her again? Because, I want to answer her question. All right. Oh, hi, Heaven is a heartbeat away. I just saw a question, and let's see. Okay, Joel Cortez, question. Ever take Obviously not, because I can't even say it. Zyprazidone with lithium. No, I don't know what zyprazidone is. I'm gonna Google it real fast. See if I can get the brand name. What is it? Geodon. No, but Steph takes Geodon. I don't think she would mind me saying that. But she doesn't take lithium. So I take, I just take I've only ever taken Seroquel with lithium, which is a different, it's quetiapine. It's a different antipsychotic. I know Geodon is known for less weight gain or less possible weight gain, and Seroquel is known for big time weight gain. But Seroquel really works for me, so, and I take a low dose. Some people take a low dose, which is kind of more for like sleep, anxiety. I just need that extra sleep usually to get me out of the hypomania or to, prevent it from happening. Some people take a much higher dose of Seroquel, not that you asked this, but much higher dose of Seroquel, and that's more for controlling like mania and psychosis. And some people take Seroquel or, like things like Geodon on their own without a mood stabilizer. Yeah, see, Heaven is a Heartbeat always said, when my loved one was in mania and mixed episodes, his psychiatrist told us not to go for psychotherapy until he was more stable. I'm not saying this is right for everyone, but I am in agreement with that. I just think it's like spinning your wheels. You're probably not going to really accomplish anything in therapy if you're in an episode. I don't see how. I think I saw Victoria's. Okay, the question from Victoria Moyers was about not being motivated as a sign of depression. And Molly said nature help. And hi, Molly, I haven't even, it's getting, I haven't even gotten to say hi to you yet. Sorry about that. Yeah, definite lack of motivation is a sign of depression for sure. I mean, I just feel nothing, no emotion, no happiness, sadness, anything. And it's like a very strange feeling to suddenly go from like being a human that has like a normal range of emotions, even if you're not having big emotions, to go to nothing. And nature does help me, but I mean, it's hard to feel any pleasure in the things you usually enjoy. I mean, that's part of depression, right? But I, like you, Molly, I do try to still do those things because I want it to come back. I want feeling happiness and pleasure and just normal enjoyment in the things I usually enjoy. So I keep doing those things in hopes it will do something for me. All right, Funk Congress. I like your handle. I'm lazy and disinterested in life. Is there a medication that may help? I mean, it could be depression. It could be that, an antidepressant would help. I'm not sure if you have bipolar. In that case, an antidepressant may not help. You may need like a mood stabilizer. Depends on a lot of things. Okay. And yeah, sometimes I think for me too, like if I'm starting to feel really unmotivated, that can be a sign that I'm probably going into depression. And I'm also very bad at spotting depression. After all these years, it's still hard for me. Because sometimes I'll think like, oh, I'm just like, because sometimes I'll feel sad before I go into depression and then it's like the no emotion. So I'm just like, oh, I'm just feeling a little sad. Like it's a normal reaction to what's going on in my life and I'm feeling unmotivated, but that can happen too sometimes. But yeah, I think that can be a signal, but it is harder to figure it out. Oh, Funk Congress says, I don't think I'm bipolar. Okay, yeah. Well, go see a doctor. Go see a psychiatrist specifically. Let's see. Yeah, Ma says it can be so hard to tease feels from episodes. Truer words have not been spoken. Wait, I think I missed a question. Possibly. I feel like I need to take a class on like finding, navigating chats on YouTube. Okay, Absamad. Okay, hello, by the way. One time when I was manic, I felt like I forgot everything in my life. It really felt like my identity disappeared. Does this usually happen in people with depression or people with bipolar? Not to me, but I mean, I can't say that it doesn't happen to other people, like forgot everything. You know, it's like I've only really heard of that when people do like ECT and they like truly have memory issues from it. That can be really severe. But if it was just from mania, I mean, I've definitely like been in mania and not remembered things that I did during mania, but I didn't like forget things that had happened before that when I was stable. But does anyone else have that experience? I'd be interested to hear. I think it's just good to like, you know, we get to talk and like learn, and other people may have different experiences from us, but it's like good because, you know, that may happen to us in the future. Like, I want to know, like, okay, this isn't like so out of the ordinary. All right, I don't know why, like, my little circle light thing is like suddenly getting brighter. Did you guys see that? I don't know. You guys are talking about like being atheists and stuff. It's true though, religion trauma is real. Like Moss said, I stay away from religion at this point. But I also I don't claim to be an atheist only because I just feel like I don't know. So I'm more like an agnostic, but I'm definitely not like, I don't know. It's just safer for me, like with having bipolar, for me personally, to like not have one of those like belief systems because, you know, when I had psychosis, it was like a lot about demons and the devil and stuff. So like, I just don't want to like have that be like taught to me as like possibly being true. I just don't want to like deal with that at all. But some people like find comfort in religion, I know, and like it can be a stress reliever, like praying could be a form of meditation. I mean, you do you, but I'm not gonna do that. Medication and sleep advice question in chat. Did I miss something, Moss? I do see a question. Do you have any comorbid conditions other than bipolar or what? Yeah, I have like a ton of them. I probably can't even like remember all of them right now. So bipolar adjacent, I have hypothyroidism. I only say that because I know people couldn't develop it from lithium use, but I had it before that, like a year before I even got diagnosed with bipolar 1. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. What else? I have kidney disease, stage 3, which is from lithium, but stage 3 sounds really bad, but it's actually like, doesn't seem that bad to me. I mean, I don't notice any symptoms from it, but I have to monitor my kidney levels, and I've reduced my lithium because of it. But because of the way my kidney functions now, I do fine on a low dose. I have high blood pressure that is from the kidney disease. So it's like bang, bang, bang. Bipolar caused kidney disease, which then caused high blood pressure. but I take medication for it, so my blood pressure is under control. And actually, it's amazing. The high blood pressure medication I take has like nearly completely rid me of chronic migraine. Well, I say completely rid me. I still have a migraine flare probably like once a month, but I used to have them like 15 days of the month. So to me, once a month is like not that big of a deal. But so yeah, I also have chronic migraine. What else? I have disembarkment syndrome, which I talked about in my most recent travel vlog. Its technical name is mal de débarquement, which means after traveling, usually like a long car ride, air travel, boat travel, at least for me, I have this dizziness. It feels like a rocking sensation. And I traveled in the beginning of June and I still have it, even though I took medication to try to ward it off. It didn't work. It doesn't always work. So I still have some dizziness I've been treating, but yeah, it's kind of a problem at times if you want to travel. What else? I just have problems with like hormonal. So like I take birth control to ward off hormonal migraines, and also like some people like me, you know, in my cycle, like when I get towards the end of it, I can have hypomania or mania based on like the way my hormones are fluctuating. And so it also helps with that. What else do I have? I don't know. Just like clinically weird, like in a fun way, I think. There's probably other stuff I'm not thinking of right now, but we're at 2 o'clock, so we're like getting towards the end. I'll answer this last question from Rodrine Liverpool. What causes you to stress more? Is it overthinking, money, family, or the environment? Because these few mentioned and more can lead to high or low energy. My biggest stressor is probably, God, I don't know. Probably work is a big one for me, and also being a parent. Yeah. Like, I thought long and hard about becoming a parent, and it was hard for me because I also, another thing I have is endometriosis. So I had to do a lot of fertility treatments to even become pregnant. I'm very lucky that I was able to become pregnant. But being a parent is like a freaking full-time job. And then if you also have a full-time job, it's stressful, but it's also like, I would never change it. I love being a parent. My kid is amazing. She's like the perfect kid for us, and all that. And she's just brought so much joy to our lives. I'm not saying anyone should be a parent at all. You can find joy in your lives other ways, that's fine, but she's really, really amazing. But it is so stressful because it's like all the school stuff and activity stuff, and like just trying to steer her in the right ways, and like dealing with shit that happens at school, and people like this year, like friends were like body shaming her and like all this shit, and I'm just like, why? And like her teacher was an asshole, and like a lot of stuff, yeah, it's a lot to deal with, and it's a never-ending job, but it's also like the best job for me. I if I didn't have to work full time, like I do enjoy working, but it is stressful. If I could work part-time, like my job doesn't work like that. Like I couldn't work part-time at my job, but if I could, that would be it. And if I could make enough money, I would work part-time and be a parent, and that would be like the perfect, I could keep stress lower that way. All right, friends, I don't know. I think we're gonna wrap this up. I really, really appreciate you guys all coming. There were so many people here. I love seeing all of you. So I guess we'll be doing this again in 2 weeks, unless, I don't know. Tell me right now. Do you want to try to start doing these every week? I think I could do it. Maybe, especially now that softball's over, because like the softball games were like right after the lives, which was fine. But now softball is done. Summer is like much calmer, much calmer. I love, and I get an extra hour of sleep in the summer because I don't have to take her to the bus. You guys, like, we can try weekly, and if people are like, as long as we're getting people coming in, you know, like I will definitely try it. Yeah, polar opposite. Yeah, you don't have to like make every live, but I do appreciate if you guys watch the replay. If you aren't able to come, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. And then I watch the replay because I want to like see what I missed in the chat, because like but and I'll have some guests on too. I'll have more guests at times, but I like doing the solo. I like the solo dolo. It's fun. All right, you guys, I have to go now because I have to make lasagna. It's my dad's birthday and he requested lasagna, and lasagna, like, I don't even know if I can make it in 2 hours, but they're coming over in 2 hours. So we're gonna go do that, and I think we're gonna repurpose these balloons blowing around for his birthday party. So yeah. All right, guys. I love you so much, and I do have some news, but I'm gonna save it. Like, if you guys saw my short, I have to like just dole out the excitement in short spurts. I can't just like give it all at once. Oh, thank you guys for saying happy birthday to my dad. Yeah, he's 79 and he's like doing great, you know? It's amazing. I'm so lucky. All right, I love you guys. I'm gonna go. I'll see you soon. I'll try to do one next week, but if not, definitely in 2 weeks. All right. Bye.